promesa, rompa la patente, cumpla la promesa.
We are here for a key set of demands. We demand full funding for the fight against global AIDS. That means at least $22, $23, $24 billion per year, $6 billion more. That's pocket change for the rich countries.
So when I do Amanda, you say away to, right? Which means power to the people. Amanda! Amanda! Viva to the people living with HIV! Viva! Amanda! See, you all did well.
It is personal because of the history that I have back home on HIV. We have had a very denialist government for 15 years in power. We have only started seeing a bit of political commitment in the past 2 years with the new ANC government in the position. I have seen people dying. I have also seen people getting better. And the reason why I'm here today is to say we have made a bit of progress. We can't go back now. Our ambitions now should be even greater than they were in 2001 or 2006.
To the leaders in the US and Japan, give us the money for treatment and not money for war. We want money for treatment and not money for war.
Your promise, end AIDS now. Keep your promise, end AIDS now.
We need to be in solidarity. We need to also be in solidarity with the more of 8,000 people that are on a waiting list here in the United States. We must come together to remind our own President Obama and the rest of the people, the President, that they need to deliver their promise to fund global AIDS. United we can. United we can, and we must work together, march together, rally together. Estoy aquí para decir presente y para decir estamos en solidaridad en la lucha contra el SIDA para obtener la meta de 15 millones para el 2015 para que accesen tratamiento. Prevention and treatment go hand by hand. United we can. Gracias.
Sí se puede. Yes, we can! Yes, we can!
Thank you!
We're also here to make sure that 15 million people get access to AIDS drugs by 2015. That's 15 by 15. We are also here to make sure that free trade agreements that are currently being negotiated between the rich countries and countries in the global south don't cut off our access to affordable, life-saving generic medication. And so we say, down with FTAs, down! Down with FTAs, down! Down with FTAs, down!
Fight back, fight it!
When we as human beings are deprived of our human rights, we are challenged to take action. And today we are taking action to end AIDS. When corporations are bailed out and have money to spend, that is not saving the lives of people living with AIDS. When the United Nations and in the USA have people living with AIDS turned away and put on waiting lists, that is not ending AIDS. Boo! Shame! 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 The government should be counted and held liable for not funding global AIDS. New data has shown that 90% of people living with AIDS can have treatment and be cured and saved. And today I demand that we have a declaration to form poverty, to end homelessness, and to end AIDS, because it is a human right.
The This protest was here today in front of the UN, where world leaders are meeting at a high-level meeting on the AIDS crisis, because we now have the tools that we need to stop the AIDS pandemic in its tracks. But leaders from rich countries and from poor countries are refusing to rapidly adopt these tools, and instead are hesitating and are hiding behind the economic crisis as a reason to refuse to scale up life-saving treatment and prevention programs. So we're bringing the voices and the power of activists from around the world right to the seat of power, right to the UN, to demand that these leaders wake up and commit to ending the AIDS pandemic. I think we've delivered a very strong message. We've marched from Bryant Park to the UN, and we're waiting now for the end of negotiations, but this isn't the end of the struggle. We have a lot of work to do to challenge our elected officials to be accountable to people living with HIV, to their loved ones and to their families, and to ensure that this is the generation where we see the AIDS pandemic end.
I'm out here today just to bring attention to my sign to teach condom sense. To help win this war on AIDS, HIV, prevention education must be mandatory in our schools, colleges, prison systems, high-risk neighborhoods, and senior centers. AIDS doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what age, race, religion, or your sexual preference. If you have unprotected sex and don't know your partner's status or their partner status, it's like playing Russian roulette. Abstinence is the best policy. Unfortunately, things like underage drinking, let's use some condom sense. It's not the only policy. This is not fiction, it's a matter of fact. Condom sense is what we lack. No one's saying it's okay to go have sex. Let's stop the start of a haunting hex. Preventing pregnancies and STDs. Avoid the risk of a deadly disease. Prevention education until it fades. Imagine your kids in a world with no AIDS. That's a wrap.